Hello guys, welcome to the next podcast. We are recording another one, not at the same place. We're both at home right now, but we have some exciting topics to talk about. There is a lot has happened in the cardistry scene.
Yep.
For example, we have announced something. You might have heard of that, so we will talk a bit about that today.
Right.
And a bit about some other exciting news, for example, about Small Wonder and Anyone and some other cardistry brands who have been doing some stuff recently. So Nick, how do you feel?
Man, I'm feeling great. I'm a little bit. My mom has COVID currently, actually, but she's doing very well already again. And I'm just, it's cold. I have my scarf on. It's below 0 degrees in Germany currently. How is it for you?
Oh,
how warm is it?
It's a bit warmer here. I think it was like around 4 or 5 degrees yesterday. I haven't checked it today.
Yeah, look at this. It's 1 degrees. 1 degree today.
Wow.
So it's very cold. Like it's almost freezing. Like 0 degrees Celsius is freezing for all your Fahrenheit people.
Yeah, for me it's 6 degrees right now.
Okay,
I just checked.
A bit better. But you are.
But also I'm living in the container where it's not getting really hot. So
you're probably even colder right now than me.
Maybe.
No, man.
But I just had a cup of tea, so we'll be fine.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah, no, I'm doing great. I'm doing very well. And we just wanted to give you guys some updates before we start with our regular programming about Cardistry Experience, because of course we have announced it is December when this is going to be posted, and the tickets will be available December 20th. So in about 2 weeks, I guess, from when this is going to be posted.
Yes. So we are recording this at the end of November,
Yep.
when we are still preparing all the clips that we will post throughout the December. You haven't seen too many of those yet, but there will be a lot of posts throughout December.
Right.
So we are working hard right now, even though we have a lot of other things to do. So it is a bit stressful right now, but we are really looking forward to it. And yes, as you said, December 20th it is. December 20th, the tickets go online.
Right.
And the event will be in May. If somebody missed that, May 18th to 20th. So it would be amazing if a lot of people come over again.
Exactly.
So we really look forward to it.
Yeah, we have the biggest early bird sale that we've ever had. I think, can we share that already? I think probably, right?
No, it's secret.
Actually? Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't said anything. You haven't heard anything, but you can keep your eyes peeled because, December 20th, it's going to be great. It's going to be the best time to get a ticket. From then on, get it as a Christmas present for yourself or for a friend. And
yes, or from your parents for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, you can maybe they would like to give it to you. That would be great. And yes, we have planned so many, and I'm really excited for that because this year we have set up a little bit of a small. You can think of it as a advertisement campaign, if you will, because we have planned a lot of content and a lot of fun little reels that we've recorded in the Netherlands together with all the information for the event, and they are going to come out throughout December. So I just wanted to mention that in case any of you see this and then watch the reels. Also, feel free to just share your feedback on that because I think it's going to be very, very nice, and I think.
To give it a bit more personal and a bit more a funny touch to it, so it's not a serious advertisement campaign, but a lot of the videos are made a bit funny, so I hope you all enjoy them, and if you don't, then just don't watch them.
Let us know, and we will.
The event will still be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the event is going to be great, and if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free, as always, to send us a DM or just write a comment somewhere. Again, we're super excited about getting closer to the next event, and we really hope to see as many of you there as possible. If you have any doubts about anything, need help, need tips, whatever, just reach out to us. And otherwise, as we said, more info come in the next few days. Just stay tuned. It's going to be great. And with that being said, I think, why not just get right into our news segment? Should we, Mattis?
Yes. But actually, before we actually do that, you talked about that people could give us some feedbacks on the clips. I actually got some feedback on our podcast, and I haven't told you about it yet.
What?
Because I thought this would also be a cool thing to talk about here.
Right.
Because I got feedback from 2 different people. And first of all, I had a call with Bruno last week, and he said he really likes to listen to the podcast, and it's really nice. But he said the intro song is a bit weird, because he said, and I have never thought about that, but when he said that, I looked at it and I thought, oh yeah, he's a bit right with that, because he said Cardistry Experience feels like the home. It feels so nice, but the intro song of the podcast feels a bit spooky to him. So he said that might be a bit weird way to start when it should be a feeling of coming home or something.
Right.
So that was funny to hear that.
That's right, actually. I don't even know. I think the song, I got that off of Pexels at some point. Just got a copyright free song, and then I just ended up using it I just copied it every single episode.
Yeah, and I felt like it is a nice intro thing, and it's like you immediately see that the podcast is starting. Also, if we post the reels on Instagram, we have a lot of different reels that we post, and you just see, okay, that is just a clip from the podcast if you hear that song. So I like that you have the same every time, but I kind of get what he means with the being a bit spooky. So
we should do a poll. We should do a poll below this. Yes. So below the Spotify episode, if you see this on YouTube, then swing over to Spotify. You can answer the poll and give us a 5-star rating. That would be that would be very nice. And we can do a poll if we should keep the intro song or change it.
So this episode still has the spooky intro song, and if we should change it for the future, then let us know in the poll.
Mattis, what do you think?
Or let us know in the YouTube comments.
Yeah, that's also good. But if you make a YouTube comment, then please still go and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify, because that would be amazing. Mattis, what do you think? What genre would you pick? Would you go like a jazz? If we changed it, would you do it like a jazz?
I think the first thing Bruno mentioned was actually jazz.
Jazz lounge. With a trumpet.
I have no idea. All right. Maybe, I think we need some feedback for that.
Yeah, definitely, guys.
The people need to vote.
Maybe even I will see if I can do a text box, so you might as well be able to write in a tune or just some inspiration for us. So that would be amazing. And yeah, I mean, if you guys vote for that, then we'll have a new intro song for the next episode.
Yes,
exciting stuff.
And the second feedback I got is actually about our news part. That's why I wanted to get that up before we start into it. Because I actually, a few days ago, I got a message on my phone from Maurice, who I haven't talked to for a long time.
Yeah.
But he helped us with the first event, basically.
Right.
He was one of the people doing the paper bags, printing on that, and helped us in the venue too. And he hasn't been to the last 2 events, so if you don't know him, if you haven't been to the first event, then you might not know him, because he's also moved a bit away from the cardistry scene and is now a kendama player. But he messaged me and said, hey, I just got your podcast recommended on YouTube. Like, randomly it popped up on his YouTube page, and he clicked on it, and he said he actually really liked to listen to our podcast and listened back the last few episodes. So he started not only listening to one episode, but then also the other ones. And he said for him, especially the news part was really interesting, because he's not getting what is happening in the cardistry scene. And he said it would be nice to also give a bit more feedback. So, for example, when we talked about the Fontaine post 2 or 3 episodes ago, he said we didn't really tell what was going on in the post, and he didn't see the post.
Right.
So it might be nice to also explain what happened there for the people who haven't seen it.
Let's do that.
So most cardists might have seen the post, but for people who just see the video and don't really know what's going on, it's better to give a bit more background to
That's
it.
such a good point.
I really appreciate that feedback. It's really nice to hear something like that.
Right.
So
and to be totally honest,
to improve.
To be totally honest, it is for me. It's kind of the same way. You know, for me, the news part is also super exciting because Mattis knows, and maybe some of you know too. But I'm not so active in the community. I really miss a lot of things. I mean, Mattis did too this week, right? Because he took a bit of a break from Instagram.
Yes.
But other than that, I always am excited because you can just give me some insight. Yeah, definitely let's do that. Give more, just explain everything a bit more. And also just to give a shout out to Maurice, in case for the people who don't know him. He has been also for the first event. If you look at our first event video, I can put the YouTube thing. I always get the wrong side, but wherever it is, you can click on that and watch the first event recap video, which actually isn't even on our YouTube channel.
True.
And
but it is in one of our playlists.
Exactly,
sure.
you can find it. But Maurice is in there packing the goodie bags, and he also printed with another friend, Jan. They printed the shirts for that thing. So I remember the one time we spent a week before over New Year's there, right?
Yes, when we after the first event, we changed our name from Cardistry Event Hamburg, which was our original name. I don't know if everybody even knows that at this point. It's some time ago. 2 events have happened after that. But then we renamed ourselves to Cardistry Experience, and we did that by making a longer video with them. Everybody was performing a few moves, just good vibes. We just came together for a few days for New Year's, and that was at his place.
Yeah. So our first, basically, Cardistry Experience started at Maurice's apartment, which is crazy. So you can, if you watch the first YouTube channel on this channel, the first YouTube video on this channel, the Cardistry Experience Reveal is the name. I think that's Maurice's apartment, and Maurice is in there too. So yeah, big shout out to Maurice. Amazing. So fun to hear. If you hear this, so fun to have you listening, man.
That's the place where you showed me the You Don't Even Know playing cards the first time. That's the place where we had a discussion if the name of our Instagram should be Cardistry Experience or Cardistry XP.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of things just started out, where we had so many topics to talk about, where everything was so new to us.
Right.
We started out with so many things.
Totally, yeah.
It was a great time, actually. Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah, great feedback. Makes total sense because I know that when I listen to something super specific, even just a sports podcast, if I'm listening to a certain sport I'm kind of interested in but not following along, and then they talk about, do you know the thing that this person said, and everybody's, let's talk, and I'm like, what did they say?
And sometimes it's a bit hard to realize yourself because we both know what is going on, and then it's a bit hard to know how much feedback you need to give.
Right.
Or feedback, background you need to give. But let's try to improve on that.
Let's do that.
And now one more shout out before we actually get into the news part. I just want to say happy birthday to Philip. Felipe Stuff was his former Instagram name. The day that we record this podcast is actually his birthday. So when you're listening to this, you missed out on the birthday. But shout out to him as well.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh no.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Philip. Actually, Felipe Stuff isn't even his Instagram handle anymore. He changed it. Did you say it? You said it wrong, right? Happy birthday
I think I said
to
his
you.
former Instagram handle, but this is still the handle that sticks to my mind.
It's just his name. It's just his. For us, it's more. Felipe Stuff is more the name than Philip even.
Yes.
But Philip, man, we love you, dude. Great time hanging out with you in London. It was a lot of fun. I have great clips still. We still have to do our Cardistry Con recap at some point. But Philip, there's amazing clips where we are walking through a dark alleyway, 8 or 9 people, and he's just moderating. It's amazing. I was so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we still have some of those videos laying around. Also, we filmed a video there that we screened at Mishmania and also at the Shuffle Up event, which has happened recently. But we don't really have the time to post everything and to get everything ready because we are preparing so much for December. We just posted all of our freestyle competition videos throughout the November, so there was a lot of other things that we tried to focus on, and so the London recap video might be up in January. It might take longer.
Probably not even. It's gonna be a while. Yeah, but so much exciting stuff to come, man. I was so excited. All right, let's get into the news. And by the way, did you put Shuffle Up on there too?
We can
start off with that, yeah.
But I don't really have much to say about it because I didn't really hear a lot of what was going on there. Yeah. So if you don't know, Shuffle Up was a smaller cardistry event happening in London.
We've actually talked about that in our 2 episodes before. I can also link it. We have a small clip where we talked about that, so you can check that out, where we were explaining it a bit. Keep on.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just a smaller cardistry event. It was one day, and I heard that they screened some videos, had some presentations. They have their own deck now, which they also released now, which is a recolor of a deck that they had 2 years ago for their small event there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they screened one of our I can ask him again, and if he has something, we could put it in here or on our story. So let's hope that you can see something here right now. But they screened that video. That is great for us. But other than that, I haven't heard much else. I don't really know how many people were there. I haven't seen clips from there. I've just seen a few pictures where like 2 or 3 people are standing around and with cards in their hands, so like a usual jam picture. But I haven't heard much of that. So and we also had that with other events, that we were hoping to see more stuff online, to see what is going on. Yes. Maybe it also just takes time. Maybe they will post something nice. But it's always so great to save this moment and just keep it available on the internet. Yep.
I mean, just to say something about that, right? When we talk about things, we oftentimes are a bit annoyed by also us privately. Matt and I try to be very organized with everything we do, and also try to be very productive. Because I mean, as you know, I work full time now. Matt is a full time student. And so we don't have a lot of time for XP, so everything we do has to be very streamlined, and we have to be very productive to be able to pull this off. And then, so it obviously, because we want to be successful with what we do, right? And I don't always, if we look at this, I think the event, because I was just looking at the Paper Decks Instagram, and the photos they have are great. They're amazing photos. The photos are very nice, but then again, also you can't really see a lot of the event. And we always knew that for us, marketing-wise, the time during the event is one of the best times you can take for advertisement, because the people are there. If you make stories, people will engage with that because they know, for us, they know it's the weekend of Cardistry Experience, so they check out what's going on there. And so that is why Mattis usually always has the job of going around and just making as many stories as possible, just filming this and filming that and posting stuff to the Instagram, because then people will reshare that and they will post their stories that we can reshare, and people just see, something's happening there, right? And when we say...
you can also always see our story highlights on our Instagram account, where we share all the stories that we posted during the event days. So you can just click through there. There might also be a lot of random things that are that are not interesting, but there's like so many stories. It's just good to catch the vibe by that.
Totally. And also be able to relive that, right? I sometimes go in and watch 2021 and just check out what was going on, it's go crazy. Yeah. And so I always find it a bit sad, and I just don't want it to seem as if, because obviously it would be so valuable for them and any event to do it like this. But obviously also if the people at the event just say, hey, I just want to enjoy it, I just want to chill out, hang out, that's totally fine too, not everybody has to see, because we are totally focused on growth. We want to make it bigger and bigger every time we can, right? But if for other people that's not the case, they just want to hang out and have a good time, that's totally fine too. I just wanted to mention that. But then, also, again, for me, not having been able to go there, it would have been great just to see a bit more, and I really do hope that they will come out with at least like a little recap video or so, because the only stuff I've kind of seen was from Jeff. Jeff had some.
Yes.
Like, do you know his Instagram handle? What is it? Just so we can mention it.
I think if you search for Jeff, you can find it.
So his name is. It's a friend we've met. Jeffen Moskalov is his Instagram handle.
Yes.
He's a great cardist and also a magician, I think. Right? Yeah, he had a show here. And he posted some stuff about the event, but other than that, and I was just trying to see something, and kind of take part in it, even though I couldn't be there, and wasn't really able to. Yeah, but it did seem, because I didn't see a lot. I mean, it could be also that I don't follow the right people, but it did seem to be quite.
But same to me. I saw the stories from Jeff as well. I think he also posted something that he said, "Oh yeah, I lectured here."
Exactly.
So he gave a talk or something. So I also just saw his story, and I also haven't seen much else than that.
Yeah. I personally am not the greatest fan of the deck. Actually, the first photo I saw was on Jeff's Instagram. Look at this. I just showed to the camera. And I was thinking that is the first entry deck.
They actually said in their latest post that they are inspired by the entry deck and by the missing Fontaine deck.
Okay, all right.
I think.
Okay,
entry over once.
I think that is a very good move to point out inspirations, because people usually never do that, right? It's always, no, I came up with. Also, the missing Komorebi thing, right? You remember when they were like, who did the stretched and the landscape mode, right? Phases, and you're like, and they were kind of like, Nathan was saying, "Oh, I did it first," and then and people were kind of arguing about that, and you're like, doesn't even matter really. Yeah, but that's cool. Still, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of that. But other than that, it's great to just see that an event is happening. I mean, we always push that, right? Having heard that, like, knowing that Cardistry Con is possibly not going to be around for much longer, just to have more local events pop up. And again, I would really hope that that it was worth it for them. I really hope that it was good and that they are happy with everything that happened. I unfortunately can't judge it because I didn't see a lot of it, and I do really hope, if any of you guys see it, Chris or the other guys involved with that, just keep going, guys, and put out some content. We would love to see what was going on, and I really hope that if you guys put on another one, they will be able to come by.
Yeah. And then I think let's move on to the next topic, and actually another meetup. Not really an event that was going on, but there was a pop-up store in Amsterdam by Small Wonder. So Small Wonder is the new brand from Nikolaj. Like, he dropped out of Anyone a long time ago, actually, by now. I feel like it has been a while that he left Anyone. And now he made his own cardistry brand called Small Wonder. And by now he hasn't really published anything. So he has posted a few videos with the decks, but also cards, but also everything around the cards. So he made these card stands, and he cared about the boxes, how to open the deck and stuff like that. And now they had their first pop-up store, and they had the first Moth deck there, which is the first collaboration deck with an artist, and they had the 3 original starter decks, whatever they're called,
let's give
a
bit of context to that, just real quick, right? Like, if anybody, because I remember when I was first getting into cardistry, like I always knew Oliver Sogard and Tobias Levin, but Nikolaj, because back in the day he wasn't as like well known as the other guys. So there's a bunch of Danish cardists, right? There's Oliver Sogard from Delos Group, then there's Tobias Levin, super well known guy from Anyone, and he had Nikolaj Pedersen on there on. We have to take a small break soon. Nikolaj left Anyone, and pretty soon after that, I think, had already had the Small Wonder thing in his bio, and the account was there, but at the time I think it didn't have any post on there, or it was private or whatever, and it took quite a long time until he really posted anything about that. So, and then when I can try and put a photo in here. Then the first thing you kind of saw of that was, actually, I think you remember that the first thing he ever posted was a cardboard piece of paper with a rule set for a card game.
Yeah,
which was
and he
so
just
random.
posted that in his story again. And you actually, if you order his decks now, you get that along the decks.
It was just text in boxes, it was layouted, but it wasn't super exciting. It worked, it was text on a piece of paper, but it had so much anticipation. It was just seems like such a weird
before that, before he did that, he posted on his personal account, he just posted a few moves, and he used red cards with just numbers on them. So it started with the cards with the 5 on it or something like that. And then he went down and then had the 4, 3, 2, 1. So it was like a countdown. But in the beginning, he posted with his new deck where it's just a 5 on it. So I first thought, is this just the deck? Is he just building up this big brand and saying, oh yeah, exclusive, and then just having a deck with a 5 on it? But it then later turned out that was just for him to try out different stocks and different cards from different companies or something, just to know where he wants to print his cards. And then what he released was something totally else. But to see the numbered cards, then his account is not private anymore, it's public. And then the first post is up, and it's the rules for one weird game. That was a weird feeling.
It was super weird. Yeah. Then after that, I think you saw pretty early on. You saw the card stand, the plastic thing. Right, that was a cool thing. I think that's really nice. And then the first real decks you saw were these originals. Is it the originals? Also, I will have to look that up.
I think it's called originals.
But it was basically it's a colored square with a white border, and then there's a horizontal line through it. Right, we can put the pictures in here.
Yes.
There's 3 color variations of that. I would say like there's one color variation that actually is kind of aesthetically pleasing in a more traditional way, and the other ones are, in my opinion, very reminiscent of the Cap logo decks anyone has, because they also had these weird, very unusual color combinations, right? And so it seems a bit reminiscent of that for me. I haven't been of the blue. I think it's the blue. The one with the mainly blue deck that was my favorite. Again, you'll see a picture here. But other than that, I was like still at that point kind of like, what is this going to be? And then when he came out with the moth-based design, and especially the back design, kind of started to understand, oh, all right, this is because I think the back design is very cool actually. I really like that.
Yes, I think so too, yeah.
And the thing that sold it for me, and funnily enough, the greatest thing for me actually is the box. I think the box is very cool.
Normally, deck boxes just open with a flap here, but the Small Wonder boxes have this where you can like open the whole box in 2 parts, and you have the deck laying in there. Maybe we also have one photo of that, or you can see it on their Instagram or something.
Sure.
But I also think that is pretty cool about the decks. But now I actually had one of their decks in my hands because Hans was at the pop-up and he bought one of the original decks. And the colors on the box are actually different than the colors on the cards. And I think that is really annoying. So not like totally different colors. It's not like green and blue, but it's like a really different tone of blue. And so that is a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, that is always, I have not been at the pop-up. Mattis hasn't. Well, I'm fucking, what am I doing? Right when I'm about to say, I start eating stuff. It's so random. Anyways, yeah, we haven't been at the pop-up. But and I really like the box because the box, what I wanted to say about that is that it seems, in the beginning I was thinking, a different dimension is always weird, right? I have a box from MPC here. And the MPC boxes, if you guys have worked with MPC boxes before, if you even have the XP23 logo deck, for example, that is also an MPC box. And they are quite a bit taller than other boxes. So when you, for example, when you stack 12 you didn't even know decks on top of each other, like a brick of white eggs, which are pretty standard box size, I would say. They are printed by Hanson Chien. And you put them next to a pile of XP23 logo decks by MPC. The MPC decks, 11 will be as tall as 12 of the You Don't Even Know. Yeah, so
it's a bit hard to see here.
Yeah, it probably will be difficult, also because you have it in the plastic box that You Don't Even Know, right? But just for everybody who doesn't know, there's the MPC boxes tend to be a bit thicker, also because the cards are just a bit thicker, and so that's always weird, right? Like it does seem always like a bit off when the box is bigger. But the thing is about the L-Tuck case, as he calls it, that it's so thick, and also the way that he has these small cutouts on the outer side for the fingers to grab the inner side, and then you can lift up the outer part, kind of. It's such a different look that to me it seems very quality, right? Like it seems very cool. Yes. Like I would love to have that in my hands and open it up. Kind of similar to the touch box, right? That one was also always way bigger than others, but it was super cool because it was just such a different mechanism. But then obviously when the colors don't match, that does seem to be a quality issue, right? Where you think, why does that happen? And how are you not able to make sure that the final print product run is perfect, right?
And I haven't seen all the decks. So, maybe it's only on this one of the original decks. I have only seen, I think it's called version 1, but whatever. So it's the blue, brown, reddish deck. But yeah, in that one, it was quite a difference from the box and the cards. So we were jamming with Hans and Olaf, and we talked about, I think Olaf and I mentioned that we don't really like that deck and don't like the colors of that one. But Hans liked it. That's why he got it. And then Olaf saw the box and he said, oh yeah, if the colors of the cards would be like this, then I would like it way more. So that is just weird that it's really off and you can really see a difference there. So that was actually interesting to see. And very I think with the thickness of a box, there's actually a trend recently. Like more decks have these thicker boxes for very different reasons. So Missing had the glowing in the dark ink deck on the cobweb decks, and they also said it's not well for cardistry because it will just scratch off soon, but it's just a cool deck, a cool thing to have. And they also have thicker boxes just because of how the printing works, I guess. And Goose has released their like accordion decks that are connected. They also have thicker boxes. So recently just some brands have put out some decks with bigger boxes for very different reasons. But yeah, it's just a thing now that it's normal. And as you said, I guess Touch started it years ago. So it's not even like a completely new thing.
Right. So generally, that's a great thing to see. Also, we have talked about in the past about smaller decks, right? I think Orbit popularly released like not too long ago. It's a smaller deck in general. We've talked about how interesting that is, just different dimensions also of playing cards, how interesting it is to think about those kinds of things. And it's super cool to see, like seeing that deck sales start slowing down, and everybody's still pushing out so many new designs and stuff and standard decks, and to see people experimenting, especially I think Missing right now, as in many other departments as well. They are kind of the prime example because they had the Holy deck. Now they have the Glow in the Dark. Well, I guess Glow in the Dark that, like we had the UV light things in the past quite a bit. So that's not the most innovative thing, but still to see a general trend going towards trying out new stuff. Although, I mean, there's always one problem. And I think especially so in this regard, because everybody, of course, it's the first release of a new brand, was thinking about, all right, innovative ideas. You knew beforehand that every deck was going to be numbered. It's super limited, 500 piece print run of every deck. It has a great, cool box. You get the paper stand, you get the card stand with it, small plastic piece, and you get the card, the game rules card, I suppose, right? And so everybody was kind of wondering about what's going to be the price. And I think that is the moment where it's soured
do you know what
for
the
many
price
people.
was? Did you see that?
So I didn't follow along too much. I actually saw it because Jesper, shout out to Jesper Magician, I think is his Instagram handle.
Okay.
And he posted, he sent it into because he wanted to check out in the online shop, and then he saw the price, and that was the moment where I was like, all right, this is interesting. But you tell me about how you heard about it.
Yeah, so I just saw some stories from people who went to the pop-up. So as I said, I jammed with Hans afterwards, so I also got some insights from him about it. But I just saw some people who went there, and some people actually traveled far to get to this pop-up. So this pop-up was on 2 different days. So it was Saturday, Sunday, but it was open on 3 days on the Sunday and 2 days on the other day. Like I don't know what order, but it was just 5 hours in total. So it wasn't like super long. There was not much happening. It was just open to buy cards. But a lot of people traveled there because it is a pop-up and you can just jam with people. So I heard that Peter traveled from Denmark, that some of the Spanish guys were there, that Pablo, who's now living in Hamburg, that some people really took...
Right, Pablo told me, he hit me up and asked if I was coming, but I think it was the first weekend on my new job, so I just couldn't do it.
Exactly. So I saw that a lot of people actually traveled to get there and really tried to have a nice time there. And I suppose they also had a nice time. It seemed like there was a lot of cool people there coming together, so I think they had a great time. And I saw some stories from that, and then they went to the store, and in the store... So they didn't know beforehand how much the decks would be, and then at the store there was like a printed out A4 paper which said how much they were, and they sold the 3 original deck and the moth decks. And I heard that some people also thought about, maybe getting a brick of decks or something, or like they have these 5 deck boxes or 6 deck boxes that they sell from the moth. They are like in another box actually, so if you get it online, I think 5 decks are in like another box, but at the store you weren't even allowed to buy 5 decks. It was limited, so you were allowed to buy 2 of the moth decks and 1 of each original deck, so the most you could get is 5 decks.
Dude, but that is, again, just to stop you right there, that, again, in and of itself is such a Danish thing to do in regards to cardistry, which is so weird that they always, for whatever reason, I mean, I get it if you don't have enough decks there, right? But it does seem weird that you have the main release, right? And then you have these limits on it. Or even then, I think I remember with the Anyone things that sometimes they were just way more expensive in person than online, where you're like, well, this is kind of weird. Why?
And that is the next point. The prices are different in person and online.
No, don't. No,
so
no.
The
I haven't even heard about
I also
that.
I did a bit of research yesterday in preparation for this podcast. So I wanted to get the prices straight. And then I saw it on the website and it was like, wait, I remember that differently from the pop-up. So,
that's so cheap.
So then I asked Hans about it and it's actually different. So for everybody who hasn't heard about it, the original decks are now up on the website for 25 euros, or like only 1 or 2 of the originals. I don't know. I think he released them separately or something, which is also weird for shipping reasons, but that is something totally else. So they are up for 25 euros. At the store, they were for 30 euros. So it was more expensive in person. And the moth deck is actually the same price. That is 50 euros, both these places. So a deck of playing cards for 50 euros is just a lot. It's
So I have questions about that. So I saw the 50 euro thing. So but that is good because I was expecting now that they were all 50 euros. Honestly, because I hadn't looked it up, I just saw the screenshot one guy had sent, Jesper, and was expecting that was like it was 60 or so at the shop. No. But it's great that I think 25. We are used to that, like at this point. Honestly, and do you get do you get all these things you get with the moth deck too? The card stand?
I'm not quite sure. I think at the pop-up, everybody got a card stand. My camera battery just died. Okay, so at the pop-up, I think everybody got a card stand and everybody got a cap to put on the hat. So I think everybody got that for free, but I'm not entirely sure. So it seemed like it's no matter what you buy there, probably everybody bought something. You just do that if you go to a pop-up, I feel like. So that was probably just for them. And they actually had free drinks. They were provided from like a beer company, a friend of Nikolaj, and they actually took a lot of pictures there of people drinking beer. So maybe it was like a deal of, okay, we get free drinks, but you get some promotion photos from this event or something like that. But that is at least cool to have some free drinks for everybody who's there. So that was nice.
Sure, cool. So okay, of course. So it seems like the event thing was good, right? Like we have heard about worse pop-up situations, probably, I think, you know?
Yes, but it was also not much going on. It was not like we record videos with everybody who's there, we play games, we do this. It was nothing like that. It was just, it was open to sell decks. You can take photos with Nikolaj, you can perform moves, you can do something, but there wasn't much planned for event things or something. It was just a pop-up, but that seems cool. Yes.
Right. Cool. All right. That's good at least, like, I guess, right? And I think let's just talk, like, give a quick closing statement on the prizes, because I think, you know, that is just the thing, you know, when we were talking about what we were thinking, and I think I said I was at the 30, around the 30 mark, because we know our Danish boys, our cardists, you know, we know how they are with pricings. We know that dealer script that Oliver will just, you know, put a Havok deck for $25. Just why not? You know, without any obvious reason, they will just increase the prices by a crazy percentage for a single deck, because why not? You know. You know that anyone will sell a deck for 14 on one hand, but then for 24 on the other, and it's probably like, you know, not that much difference in either the design work that goes into it or the value of production. So I was thinking that, well, 30 might be because it is interesting. It is quite an innovative product in that regard, because it is a deck, it is artist collaboration. There have been many before, but it's also a bit different. It seems to be goes more towards a custom deck, like something that Dan and Dave would probably put out, right? Like with many illustrations in there and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas
I definitely get that. And I guess if people are fine with paying €50 for something like that, then it is what it is. It is maybe seen more as an art piece, but it feels a bit also like he thought he would just sell it out quickly and just get people to buy it. Nikolaj has quite a big name in the community, so I would also expect people to just buy it by the name who is behind the brand, and that's how most brands start out. That's also like if a missing starts out, you also have, okay, that's Leo, he's known in the community. If like all the brands start out and you see them because of the name who is behind that, and then they hopefully catch you with good products, good videos, good everything, and then you stay with the brand. And I guess Nikolaj expected to sell out, but he's still, I just looked it up, he only released one of the 3 originals online and the Moth deck, and both of those are still available online. So he haven't sold out on those. And he advertised them with, edition of 500 and limited, stuff like that. So it felt a bit like all these releases also anyone did and everybody just does and try to sell out quickly.
Yeah.
But now he still has them online. And I guess it is because of the price that people are just a bit shocked by that.
Of course.
And also it might be that he also has limited, like you can only order a limited amount online. So I think online you can get a few more. You can get like 5 of the Moth decks, but I think that's the limit. You cannot get more than that. And so if some shops wanted to get them to resell without contacting him and getting another deal, if you want to try to get more, it's not possible.
It's just, it's just overkill. It's just too much. It's just too much. If you would buy 5 decks, that's $250. That's fucking like a brick of usual decks. 250 is quite steep, Yeah. So that it's just way too much. And even so, if the bundle, the idea of having a deck that is super specifically designed, that is just unique, has a unique cool box. It's individually numbered. It's not like you don't gain anything from that, but it's just nice. It's just a bit unique. It's just something different than a classically mass-produced deck of like 5,000 or even more decks. And with a small card stand, which enables you to put a card in there and have it in your room or wherever. And the small rule set, it does seem cool because that is something, you remember when the first time I started, when I did Hertz Berlin, my first ever business, when I put that, I love you, man. When I put my first hoodie, actually my first ever product, that hoodie right there. When I put my first products online, I had these cards, and they were actually like a bit smaller than this, a little smaller, like about let's say about this size maybe, of just cardboard cards with a photo printed on it, and I would write out almost like a letter to every single person.
And I think you also had it that you just ripped off a page of a random book and then wrote over that page. That was also so cool. Like I also got that, and you just wrote like a letter to me on that. Yeah, that was so nice.
That was actually on that. I had the page and painted, and a friend of mine helped me with that. Actually, she was a great help with that because she wrote a lot of those. But there, I had it was actually the washing instructions were on there.
Oh, right? True. Yes.
So there was saying that you don't wash it too hotly, But anyways, I had never had a lot of orders totally, right? So it was always very manageable. But every time someone ordered, I was like, well, let's make this special, And I order something and it arrives in a crooked box and it's just not a nice experience. Then I'm also a bit disappointed, even if the product is great, right? So just to say that, I always appreciate it when people spend time thinking on, hey, what are nice little add-ons I can do just to enhance the experience. And I really think that Nikolaj did that, and I really do think that he succeeded with that. It does seem like a nice entire experience buying such a deck. That being said, 25 euros is a totally fair price for that. As I said, I would have been at around 30 is a fair price for that entire package. Then also, I'm not entirely sure right now if you do get the card stand and the exact same thing with the originals. We would have to look that up. I just can't say that right now. But if that is the case, then it's still super weird to charge twice that much for the design product, because obviously he's able to produce the deck with a solid profit at 25 euros. So then that's just a weird move, because you see, all right, he just
because it's an artist collaboration, just because you can say that it's something different, maybe the artist gets a bit of the money, but it's hopefully not like all of that increase. Sure. Will just go to the artist. So yeah, it is a bit weird.
And
definitely.
50 euros, it's just, it's a deck of cards. Like using it, how long does a deck of cards last you, man? Like it's a thing you go through, it doesn't last.
And you don't want to waste a 50 euro deck of cards. You don't want to use it every day and then have it destroyed soon. You still want to have it feel nice. So my more expensive decks that I have, I almost never use them because I don't want to destroy them.
Sure, and like the rare decks also, right? If you have a limited thing that's super old, I usually also don't really touch them a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, and there will be a market for that. There will be people, collectors or so, who really like that. But in general, to me, overall, it is a bit of an underwhelming performance so far of Small Wonder, like looking at the entire story, with the entire build-up, the arc that it took. I mean, he did also have a very nice little video that he posted on Instagram, and he kind of in the caption wrote that it's going to be an ongoing series, something like that.
Yes, so Small Wonders posted, we're featuring the cardist Nikolaj, which also seemed a bit weird to me because right now we know that the brand is just him, so it seemed a bit weird. And if it's an ongoing series and you have videos like that every week or month or whatever, then it sounds fine, because you just have the same caption but with a different name on there, and then you can do it. But we haven't seen any video like that so far, so it has only been the Nikolaj video, and it would have been great to see some more videos as like promotion.
Totally.
And hopefully that will come up in the future. We'll see how he develops. We don't know what is coming up after this, but let's just see.
closing statement for me regarding that is I personally wouldn't buy it. I think I think also the price increases we are seeing in regards to playing cards that's not a great tendency. I understand what he's trying to do, also by having the higher price just to make it be a more valued item. Just buy that. I really understand that, but I think 50 euros is just overkill. Like, do 30. 30 would be even then people would struggle with buying that because decks are just meant to be used, right? It's not meant to be put on a literal pedestal, right? Like if you take a card out and put that on your wall, people love to do that. But other than that, the deck is meant to be used, and people like to get 1, 2, or 3 because if they like the deck, they want to use it, right? And it gets worn out pretty fast, so it's just too expensive. I really am excited to see where this brand goes. Right now, I can't really imagine with this cause, with the 3 original decks. I mean, they will also at some point sell out. They will be just gone because it's just 1,500, right? And then the other deck, it's just too expensive. So I really, from right now, I don't really see how Small Wonder is going to establish itself in this way. And just other than that, it does seem like the pop-up has been a great time. I really would have liked to be there. And I hope that from not from the product point of view, but just in the entire different, looking at it from all the other sides, I really hope that it just stays active. Put out some videos every now and then. If a pop-up store like this happens every now and then I think that even puts them ahead of many of the other brands who are just happening online. Exciting stuff. Can't wait to see where Small Wonder goes. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the exact same. Like, the price is just, as you said, there might be some collectors who really want to get it and who will buy it, but for the usual cardist, that is just a price that is just, I also didn't get the decks. I don't want to buy the decks. It's just too much for me. We're actually talking about how much was our event ticket last year? It was less than 2 decks of this playing cards, and it's so insane for me to look at that and to think about some people struggling and thinking, oh, I don't know if I can come to the event, it's just expensive. But then so many people also getting these kind of decks that are so super expensive. And
and actually even you can even put the other events there, right? Mishmania has been a bit less than ours, but it was about around 60 euros, so just a bit more than the one deck. And Shuffle Up this year has definitely been less than 50, right? So look at that, and then you get at that. I think you got 4 because they had 4 sponsors, so you probably got around 4 decks there too, right? So
maybe.
And not, I mean, you can't. That's the thing. He obviously tries to differentiate, right? He says, "Hey, this deck is more expensive. It is not like the other decks," right? And I do agree with that, right? But I'm totally with you on that. It's just too much. It's just too much.
Yes. And with that, let's move on to the next topic.
Let's get it. It's getting a bit heated in here. I like this. I like this. Having some controversial opinions. Also, again, just to say this, if whoever sees this, right? If even for some or whatever reason, Nikolaj or any of the other people we talk about sees this, we obviously appreciate all the work everyone does. And again, we just want to share our opinion because there is not a lot of that going on in cardistry right now, we feel like. So this is not about hating on anything. We love cardistry. We love to see the community be active and are just super passionate about it. So feel free to share your guys' feedback also, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, if you see this and if we have something wrong or if we are misunderstanding anything or if you want to discuss something with us, hit us up. We're always open, not only to Nikolaj and the guys we talk about, but also everybody who sees this and want to interact with us. We are always open to talk about these things.
Yeah, if anyone, we said that the last time, I think, too, or the episode before that, if there's a person, if you're just some guy, right? If you're just some fucking guy who loves cardistry or girl or whoever, right? If you're just a person who's interested in this and has a super different opinion, then just hit us up, right? We're super down to get you on a call next time, right? And just discuss with people, we really love that. We got the chance at some point from Caleb. He invited us onto his show where the first time the first time I with Jonas, right, and then you on your own, we got the chance to talk to a person, and he shared his audience with us, right, and we'd love to do the same. So if you just whoever you are, if you would like to join in, right, and talk to us about your opinions, then just hit us up and let's do it. So
definitely. Yeah, let's move on to the next hot topic, next hot take we might have.
This is going to be fun.
Yes. So there was this Cardistry Con this summer, which was great, which happened in London, and everything was great. Some people filmed videos there. We talked about our video that might come up late.
It's a great video. I love the video, honestly. It's one of my favorite ones I've ever done, to be honest. Nice, so it's got to be, when that's out, that's got to be great, yeah.
So there's been some videos, and some people took some photos, and now anyone has actually released a photo book. I think that is generally a really cool thing. We've also done that for our last event, to have a photo book afterwards, to just have something in something you can have in your hands afterwards. You can look through the actual pages, you feel the paper and see the pictures from the last event. I really like something like that. So it's really cool that Benjamin Pratt was taking so many pictures there, and that anyone released it with him together. So yeah, this is not the London photo book what you're showing. This is our one. So yeah. But that is a cool move from anyone to do that. And actually, we ordered those photo books. So I don't have it here yet, because shipping was also a bit weird again. I don't remember what it was exactly. But so we ordered those together. So Nick has both of them right now, and I will get it whenever we meet up. But yeah, Nick, how are they? What do you think about these photo books?
Well, as you might have expected, coming into this saying that we have a hot take, I'm not that happy. Well, actually, give me a second. I just want to try and see if I can find out the price that it was, because I'm not super.
Yes, I can also do
Black
that.
Friday 2023.
Shit, I wanted to talk about that next. Now you
I have not heard about that at all. All right, I'll not look any further. Yeah, okay. We paid €81.85. So the books shipping was 22, and the books were about 60. So 30 each for the books. Yeah. So first of all, as we said, we had a brief moment talking to Tobias. Great moment. He sponsored the last event. Amazing guy. Amazing work, right? Obviously, the entire brand. Crazy valuable for the Cardistry community. And then Benjamin Pratt, more of a behind-the-scenes guy, but he has been, as we have seen, in our Anyone Get Paper reaction, which you can watch clicking the button here, right? Ben Pratt was in there already too, 6 years ago, right? So he's been a popular figure, kind of less in the public eye, but more behind the scenes and the community as well. He's taken the official group photo for Cardistry Con this year. He's been there. He's actually even photographed Mattis and I, like Linus, on the last day of the con. Linus came to us, funnily enough, and he came to me. You remember that, Mattis?
Yeah.
Linus came to me, and Linus, super tall guy, right? And he had such a soft voice, and he was speaking very softly. He was like, Nick, would you like to be photographed in the church by Ben Pratt and I? I was like, I guess, right? Sure, why not?
And one more thing about that. You just said he did the official group picture. That is something CardistryCon hasn't posted it yet.
I just thought that. I just was thinking that they haven't.
I just searched up their Instagram. They haven't posted anything after the con. There was nothing.
Actually, though, I don't know if I told you that yet, but I had sent a mail to Dan the other day, and he got back to me like a minute later. It felt like saying, "Hey Nick,
you didn't tell it to me, but I saw it in the mail.
It's super busy. It's super busy right now. I'll get back later." So I think they are probably because
also with the group picture, we always try to have that out the same day, the last event day or the day after, and that is something people like to see. That people like to put that in the story usually to show, oh, I was there. Oh, these were all the people, and it's so cool that Benjamin Brett took this picture, and it's probably in the photo book, I think. But why is it not just somewhere online yet? That's just a weird thing.
They don't need it. You know, the con, they are just so big, you know, they just, you know, that's what it is. But I mean, I totally agree, you know,
cool
that. Right. So again, just to finish that anecdote, then we went, Linus and I went to Mattis and just collected him, and basically we went into the church, and at that point the venue was already closed, right? They were already putting down all the decorations, right? And we went up there and just like it felt like Harry Potter kind of.
At the moment they did an interview downstairs, so we also had to be quiet
with Dynamo and Dan and Dave, and something was going on there. But so we went up into kind of, it felt like a bit of a tower, like towards where the organ was situated. And just went up there on a stair, and then Linus and Ben just took a few photos, right? Which was great. Obviously, we didn't make it in the photo book. I mean, look at us, look at us. We're just, that's what it is. But still, the photos exist, and Ben said that he is going to send them to us at some point. So let's see, maybe when we see him next time, wherever that will be, we can ask him. That would be fun. But other than that, so amazing people, right? Of course, they did the run. The run was so fun. Ben was running along. There's a couple photos in here of the run, just to say that beforehand.
Ben is so crazy. Like, I was running and filming the run, and at so many points, Ben was just stopping, taking pictures, standing on the street, taking pictures of people, and then running so fast again that he overtook me again and went in front of me again and took photos again. So it was so crazy to see him run and take photos at the same time. That was incredible.
Right. Bitte? Ja, wir nehmen auf hier gerade. Mach mal ruhig, ich warte einfach jetzt. Die Heftzwecken sind weg, Mathis. Wir müssen kurz warten. Ich habe keine Heftstrecken gesehen, leider. Das tut mir leid. Ja, alles gut. All right, let's continue. So, I mean, I have the thing here. So, and I was like, man, let's buy this, because last year I didn't buy the Lewis Caldwell one. So, Lewis Caldwell was a popular cardist and photographer. He has worked as a photographer for Fontaine for a while, and then went off to do his own thing. Now started his own brand, Gordon, right? Released a deck and a tote bag at this year's Cardistry Con. A shirt too, right? Actually, not at this year's Cardistry Con before, but he also sold some of that at this year's Cardistry Con. And last year's Cardistry Con, after that, he made a photo book. I didn't get that. I was thinking about it, didn't get it, and kind of regretted it afterwards. So I was definitely like, let's get this. First of all, this wasn't limited. It was a pre-order. So
yes,
that is an interesting thing, I think. So and then it arrived, and it is quite an interesting format. So it's not quite A4.
Oh, really?
It's way smaller. It's diversion ends. It's a bit taller than A5.
Oh.
Which I didn't expect. I thought this would be quite a bit bigger, and also you can see it is paperback, and it's not glossy, but it is quite shiny. It is way glossier than, for example, the paper we used for our booklets. Sometimes we have glossy, sometimes we have matte, but the matte paper, this is something in between, it feels like. You can see it's quite shiny, and thus you can see really a lot of fingerprints on it, which is a bit unfortunate. And so just from the, like, right away, judging from it, the print quality isn't great. So, because we bought two things, we paid 60 euros, and it arrived, and it looked, I have looked through this once, right? Because this is the one I wanted to give Mattis. No, this is mine, but I looked through it once, right? And I wanted to show this because, so this, you can see the edge of the book. It's super worn out already, and this has never been opened, so it's just not very sturdy. You can see the white line that is.
Yeah.
And
that's just great.
It just looked like this is something when I buy like a book on a used bookstore or something, right? Then but this is new, and so I don't know. I don't really know if other people they are not bothered by that, or if they are like, that's how it is. But it honestly is not how that is, because I remember when we got our photo book, which is hardcover, by the way, there were certain ones that were dented a little bit, and I just took them out, right? Those are the ones like I would take a dented one, and we would send out the best ones we have, like this.
Yeah.
To me,
and if we look at our booklet from 2022, which is just a small piece that everybody got in their goodie bag for free, that is something that has a bit of rough edges, right. And I've also had that for a long time by now, but that is something where I think it's totally fine. It's a nice thing to look through, but that's it. But if you buy something for $30 plus shipping online, that's somewhere where it shouldn't happen like that.
Yeah, totally. It's honestly, like, and everybody might have their own opinion on this, but to me, also thinking about like photography, photo books, because I don't only view this as an anyone product, but also as a photo book by Benjamin Pratt, right? Like photo book.
Yeah.
And the photo community, they are so keen on having good quality, good print quality, because it shows their work, right? Like, obviously. I have for our photo book. Obviously, I'm not a great photographer. I have my fucking camera. I've had that for about a year now. I'm not a great photographer. But still, I was thinking, hey, this is going to be for Nick, for me as a photographer. This is my first release. So I want it to be as good as it possibly can. And this, to be honest, it just doesn't seem like it is that. It's, as I said, it arrived super worn out. This just looks as if it had been handled for a while already. It has a glued spine, which is nice because obviously that costs a bit of money. We do our booklets, which have been free in the past. We always had it, what's it called? We had it stapled.
Yes.
We had it stapled, but glue binding is better. But the thing is that a glue binding matters. You, as an old printing genius, obviously will know that having a glued binding for a paper bag soft cover means that it does this. So for most of the books, you're just photos, you're just not able to properly view them because they make a curve through the entire thing. You could theoretically push it down, but that would open the entire thing up because it's not the glue doesn't hold very well.
Are the pictures like full frame? Do they take on the
they're all full frame. They're all full frame.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then I see
they're all full frame. Yeah. All of them. So it's entirely
okay. Because I only just saw the one on the back, and that is just a small part of the back side. But if it's inside, if it fills the full page, then I totally get what you mean. And
it's entirely black and white, which is his look, right? He has a lot of and regarding the photography, there's some things I really like because he has some great in between moments. He has these, like Brandon having a drink here. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't really see it. Well, you just have to take my word for it. Here's Nikolaj super sweaty, it seems like. I don't know if that's after the run, probably. And there's cool. Has a cool vibe. There are these amazing slow shutter speed photos, like these. Camille also took a few like this. I think he would really like that. It's a cool look. Nice, and then there's something I do also kind of like these repeat things, where he has like frame, and Peter Lindbergh would do that a lot, a German famous photographer, where you have one shot, and then you have another one where it kind of so printing errors. So this. Wait, let me see if you really can see that. this photo of, you have this horizontal line which goes through it, and this is on a bunch of pages, as you can look at. Do you see this?
That doesn't look great, actually. That is, yes, I see that, and that's not nice.
And it is not in every book. I mean, we know how that goes because we had some issues.
We also had that problem with the prototype we made for our photo book,
which is why you make a prototype, because then you see the issue, and we changed a bunch of things up, and to my knowledge, we have fixed these issues, right? So
yeah, I think so as well. Yeah,
and so that is the thing, and to me this really does seem. I don't know if they've printed it beforehand, but there are a bunch of just problems with that. The print, for example, having this photo, you can't really these photos that go through the middle. You can't really look at them well because you have this space in the middle which you can't look at, and this is right outside, so it's even worse in the middle. And for example, there's this group photo in there which is obviously so busy that it's super important that you can see every person, and you just cannot. I actually found, I think you are on there, I know where you are, Mattis, but I'm not in there. I'm entirely swallowed
that's so sad
by that, and so
that's
these little things that you can, and you always will have that. Even with ours, I can show you we do have that too a little bit, but that is one of the specific reasons why we went with a hardcover, because as you can see, you have the cover, and for the Anyone book, it is glued to this piece. But when you open a hardcover up and you choose the right binding, then it rises just a little bit. I really hope you're able to see what I'm trying to say. Just give me a second. It rises up just a little bit, so there is this space in there. You can see that right here. And that enables you to just open it just a bit further, right? And to me, it seems as if it really wasn't thought through really well, but it was just like, hey, you know what, Ben, just take a bunch of photos, let's slap them together, and then put it out there. So, and the photos are, as I said, it depends on the taste, of course, but I think there's a bunch of great photos in there. But this as a product,
nice,
in my eyes, is just not great, and I'm not really happy with that purchase, because, as I said, it arrived looking like an old book, and that's only going to increase. And it's not something where I feel like when I see this on my coffee table, it's not that I say, hey, I want to pick this up, because it just looks used. There's a bunch of spots and stains on this already, just because of the printing. And sometimes you have pieces, even decks of cards, right? Even decks of cards, they can wear in a way that it kind of ages, and has a bit of character. Having an older deck or a vintage deck is great. A vintage book, they develop this kind of smell, and it's kind of cool. And to me, this isn't it. To me, this kind of just portrays not great quality, and that makes it, in my eyes, a failed product a bit. I would have expected more from this, and I'm pretty disappointed, honestly.
It is just maybe a mock-up, so maybe it is also just not the real product you see. But it doesn't seem like the edge would be such a big problem. It looks like it's well made. It look like, so you can't really expect more than what I've heard from you.
Yes, and the mock-up entirely. And the thing is, for example, the mock-up is so different because you see that they probably did not produce the book before, because the mock-up it seems like it's 3 times as thick. The mock-up looks like a book. Yeah. It does not look, now if you really pay attention to it, it doesn't look like a, also it's just not the final thing, because if you look at the mock-up, on the back it says Unusual Entertainment on the photo of Lewis Caldwell, but on the book it doesn't have that, so it's a different thing.
Oh, okay.
Which is super weird.
But is it also a different photo, or just a different...
No, the photo is the same, but they just removed the text.
But there's something at the bottom missing at the photo on the website, right? There's like I didn't see it anymore in your hands, but
no, it's they have the logo, but the text, it says Unusual Entertainment on the photo, but it doesn't say.
Yes, but on the book the photo is also a bit bigger than on the website, I feel like. And at the bottom there's like a cup starting on that.
Yeah, it's just different.
Like,
it's just a different. It's obviously a mock-up. It's obviously a digital mock-up, and also because you see on the spine it doesn't say anything, but on the book actually it does. And it's very thin because the book is super thin, and it didn't seem as thin on the mock-up. I'm not saying that's a problem, right? Everybody's working with digital mock-ups these days, but it just goes to show that, again, and I was honestly thinking that it might be an A4 big book. I was thinking that it might be a hardcover.
They have the sizes on the website. It says how big pages are,
right, okay.
But it just says that in inches.
Okay,
so that is also weird for us. If I read inches, I have no idea how big that is. Like you could tell me it's this or this. I don't know. We don't use inches here, so it's weird for me. So you could look that up beforehand, but it's an extra step for us Europeans, I guess. So. At least it said that somewhere, but
to be honest, I think that's totally our fault, honestly, because they do say that on there, and also they mention the zine, the word zine, and zine does usually mean that you have a soft cover, you know. So just to say that again, I didn't realize that at the time, but you know, just to put that out there. But what I do think is a problem is that. The mock-up, you know, it looks just totally different. It seems like a way thicker book, and there's changes on there. And again, there's issues with the print. It seems as if they didn't really pay attention to that before, didn't really test it. And I would expect, and honestly, again, I have books of Tobias Levin's hardcover. He produced hardcover books back in the day, back when he had a website called tobiaslevin.com, something like that. And there was no anyone around. That is how I started in there. Oliver put out these books. Tobias put out these books. Nikolaj even put out a book. And the one of Tobias were always the best quality because he at one point did a hardcover one. I have 2 of those. It's a limited edition of 100 books, you know. Those are amazing quality. So I was really hoping to find that in here. I didn't personally. I'm not a big fan of that. It seems a bit rushed, even though it's been a long time since Cardistry Con. You could have easily made sure that the quality is right. Personally, I'm a bit disappointed. Please, guys, feel free to share your opinion if you've got it. What do you think about it? What do you think about the price? What do you think about the printing? Do you think it's a fair deal, or do you think that it's What do you think? Feel free to share that. I would love to hear.
Yes, I'm also super excited to actually see it myself at some point. I haven't looked through it yet, so I'm excited to see if I totally agree with everything you said, or if I think different about it. But everything you explained seemed pretty logical, that you're disappointed about these things. So my opinion will most likely be similar to yours. But still, just to point that out, we have said some negative things about it. It's still great that somebody does this. It's still great to collect the photos somewhere.
Yes.
It's amazing that they take care of it. And Benjamin Pratt is a really good photographer. So it's nice that they did all of that. Just to say that again, we said it in the beginning, but don't think we only critique that and think it's a really bad product. Some things have issues, but it is still nice that something like this exists.
Right. Having this, even in the subpar quality that it has, is still infinitely better than not having it at all.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, then maybe let's move on. And I don't know if you have many more things to say, but one last thing I noted down, what happened recently in the cardistry community, and you kind of spoiled it already, is the Black Friday. We are recording this on Sunday. 2 days ago was Black Friday. I got a lot of advertisement from every company there exists, basically. Yeah. Everybody had a big sale going on as every year, and so cardistry brands did that as well. And as you pointed out, anyone had a sale. They had some discounts on their clothing they sold. So they have a lot of older clothing that they have around there for a while already. I think they even have some of the 5-year anniversary T-shirts up again. But then with the discount and some things they just released over the years. And I think they also have new products with that, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And I think the biggest thing anyone did is giving discount on the decks. They actually had every deck they had up there now for just $10, which is way less than they sell for usually. And so they just had a lot of older decks. They had some of the checkerboard, some of the Cap logos, some of that stuff, the XL checkerboards and the XL dots and stuff like that. So some of the decks that might have just not been sold out, that they didn't have on the website the whole time, but they apparently still had some of them, and now they sold a lot of that for just $10.
I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to stop you real quick because I'm just on the website. I didn't notice that at all. Firstly, I didn't hear about that at all. Just totally crazy. I had seen that they have the team jacket, which is fun because that has been limited to 52 pieces, I think. Doesn't say that anymore, but it seems like they still have a bunch. And that archive playing cards, are you seeing this right now? They still have all these playing cards on there for $18 now.
For 18?
Dots
or
gray.
For 10?
Gray dots, XL dots, 606.
Oh, it's
XL.
18 up again. Yes, it was. All of these decks were up there for $10. Yes, 2 days ago.
Okay. Oh, well, so I missed that, but
and a few more, but they sold out some. So, for example, you see the XL dot is still here. The XL check was also there, but that is sold out now.
Okay.
So they had a few more than this, but this is basically
that is
the things they sold.
Super interesting. Also, the way it's integrated in the shop as a list. I didn't even notice that for a couple minutes now. That is very interesting. Yeah. And also that all of them are still in stock. There's a Cap logo. What's going on with the bright yellow Cap logo? Are you seeing the picture of that? What?
It's not even in the list that I'm looking at. It's not in here at all.
Cap logo bright yellow?
It's not in the list. But I've seen different lists through the website, so it seems like there might be a few things a bit off as well. Oh, they're here at the bottom in the list.
Yeah.
Oh, now I see it. But if you go to the... wait, now I see a different website. What's going on? There was one tab where you can click on it and it just says Black Friday. And if you click on that, then you see all decks with pictures that are still in stock. But I don't see the Black Friday thing anymore when you can click on it. It's also Sunday that it has ended, but it is kind of weird right now.
Yeah, well, anyways, okay, but they had a great... Okay, that's cool, though. Super interesting. I mean, it's so cool. I think what you have talked about this so much in the past, this tendency of all the brands saying their decks are sold out, even though they probably aren't, right? Like, trying not to get into that too much right now. I think we can talk about that another time. But in general... anyone seems to have moved away from that a bit because they've had products now on there for a long time, right? For example, the souvenirs have been in stock for a long while, as well as the collab, the Benjamin Edgar collab deck, the Keychain 2, you know, those decks. And usually in the past, I felt as if many brands would rather, even if a product has not yet sold out, that they would much rather just set it to sold out to uphold this idea of hype, you know? Because then,
exactly.
and it does seem as if that has happened quite a bit in the past as well, because there's all of these decks which have been, and obviously now it depends very much on the wording. I do not remember for all of these, right? But I would bet on that a bunch of these have not just disappeared from the shop, but have been shown as sold out. Like, oh damn, I missed the gray dots. Now they are sold out. How sad, you know? Let me try to get them on resale, you know, generating more hype. And now having it on there is a bit of an odd thing. And I think generally that's cool. I would really hope, having just products in stock, being able to go to anyone and say, hey, I really like for example, I kind of like the multicolored checkerboards, right? If I say, hey, let me get some multicolored checkerboards, some metallic checkerboards, and some 606 deck, you know, I probably would buy those. I wouldn't buy those from a retailer, but I would probably buy them from the brand themselves. What I think is problematic is if you say your product is sold out and then you just restock it all of a sudden, because that That's just it's just it's just lying. You just can't do that. You can't. If you've said this product isn't, if you just take it out of the store, sure, that's your decision. But if you actively show a product in the store as sold out, only to restock it later on because you still have a bunch lying around, and then selling it with the added hype, and I think that's a pretty fucked up thing to do. I'm not saying that anyone did this for all of these decks or even any, because I honestly just don't know if they said these are sold out.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they had these decks online at some point. They didn't have them for a long while.
Yeah.
And they have them back on. So that are the facts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. It's weird if you say sold out, then to put them back on. And I also don't remember exactly how anyone did it, if they just removed everything or if they said sold out. But
and also,
in general,
and also again, this criticism isn't exclusive to anyone. Just to say that, right? Right now it seems as if we're bashing anyone quite a bit. I honestly don't want it to seem that way. As I said, I'm not super happy with the photo book with the diversion ends. But other than that, the sale seems like it's been a fair sale. Many people have been able to get cool decks for a good price. But just other than that, most brands are kind of guilty of this, of having a product, listing it as sold out, and then just restocking it, selling it somewhere else. Sometimes even for inflated prices, right? Touch has done that a bunch of times. That they brought decks that weren't available anymore and just sold them for more than they had originally sold them for. And I think that in general is a problematic strategy. And I would really hope that people would be just more honest in that regard. If you have the product available, if you still have, I don't know, 100 decks lying around, or even 50, and you still want to sell those at some point, just have them in the store, just have them in the store. But everybody's so attached to this idea of hype and, the great brand, and they sold out in 20 seconds, fucking hell. And if it's just not the case, then don't pretend for it to be the case,
Yes. And another brand who has dealt with that better, I feel like, is, who guessed it, Missing. They had also had a Black Friday deal, so they had uncut sheets and clothing up for, I think, 50% off. So everything was way cheaper, and they had playing cards up for also cheaper. But you couldn't choose which cards you get. But it's like they only had damaged decks up there, so you can get some dinged or damaged or whatever decks. They said most of them are fine. Mostly it's just the box that is a bit damaged, and so they don't want to sell it regularly anymore. But those decks were up there for $5, so you can just get random Missing decks for $5, which is actually a great deal, I think. Mostly, I think I have ordered once when Art of Play had such a thing. I think they also did it more often, where they sold some damaged decks, and most of the time it's almost not damaged at all, or you don't notice it, or you don't really care about it.
Yeah.
And if you care about having not damaged decks, then get it for the full price. But this is a cool thing to say, okay, we sold these decks, they are actually sold out, because every deck that we have left somewhere, we don't want to sell it, we don't feel like it is worth the full price. So we do this mystery thing where you can just buy decks for $5. And I think they also said if you buy multiple, they try to make sure that you don't get doubles. And I saw some other brands. I don't remember everybody who did this. A lot of brands had a sale. I remember Square Up also posted about the Black Friday sale, which is interesting because they used to only have one deck on their website, and now they actually released their new T-shirt, which they I think first sold at a jam, and now they have it also online. So I'm not sure if they released it with the Black Friday or shortly before that, but that was also discounted. I'm saying discounted because it sounds weird if you release something discounted, but or whatever, you can also say early bird or whatever, but it seemed the price seemed pretty fair for that shirt, and then you can also get a deck for pretty cheap. So that is nice, and I'm sure some other brands did some cool stuff as well, but these 3 brands are what I wanted to mention.
Oh no, it's 25th. It's already over. Actually, I'm just looking at it now, and they had 30%, 40% off plus free shipping at Square Up, and I really like the shirt. I really would have liked, or maybe I have to get it full price now. But yeah, just again, massive shout out to Square Up, our boys. I really love that. I like that they are releasing another product. Definitely check that out. I do like the design. I think it's pretty cool. The fit of the shirt looks good. I don't know which blanks they are using, but it looks like a well-made shirt, which you don't see too often because some people also, use just standard shirts. I mean, we've done that as well with the last year because we lost so much money on our shirts at the 2022 event. And also, Square Up is at 980 followers right now. So I would like to ask all of you to go there and follow them and get them to 1,000, because I remember a time at the last event where we were I don't know where it was in the early 900s, and we were in Square Up had a bit more followers than Cardistry XP, and
at so many points they had exactly the same amount we had.
And then one day we got like 5 or 6 or 7 followers, right? And we were actively posting because our event was coming up, and I was like, yeah man, let's go. And I was looking at Square and they had the exact same number, and I was like, who is following you guys when you don't post anything, right? And we were like, and we were like having a little.
It wasn't like a serious race, but we both just looked at the 2 accounts and compared it. They probably haven't even noticed that, but it was funny to look at the 2 accounts growing.
It was an entirely one-sided rivalry, but we were looking at it and we were like, yeah, let's get to 1,000 before them. And then doing the event and obviously doing Cardistry Con, because we presented, we got a massive boost and reached the thousands a couple of months ago. But so, yeah, they are, I mean, them right now, please go over there and help them out reaching that milestone. That would be great.
Yeah, and then maybe one last news that I still have to tell. That's just a short one because we don't really know what exactly is happening there. But actually, Fontaine posted something in their story like 2 or 3 days ago.
I've seen that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
So it was just, I took a screenshot of that story, so we can also put that in here so you can see what it is. It's just a picture of a dark brick box that you see, which says Fontaine on it, and it has the date November 27th on. There, but they seem to put out a new deck, and it seems weird to me because they haven't done something for a while now. They haven't posted, and this story looks exactly like they would have done in the time when they actively put out decks every couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and it seems so usual for him to just put out a deck again, and it doesn't feel for me like it's such a usual comeback. And okay, I will just do a deck again. Maybe there is coming something bigger tomorrow. Maybe they have some great things coming up.
What do you think is going to happen? What do you think it's going to happen? Is it just going to be a deck, or is it going to be more? What do you think?
For me, it kind of feels like it's just going to be a deck. But I'm, of course, not really sure.
That would be a massive problem if it is. If it's just a deck.
But if it's something bigger, they would do more advertisement than just one story 2 days ahead.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. It is it seems it's like it's like this emoji, right? The teeth emoji. It's like You really want, you kind of, on one hand, I mean, Fontaine is the biggest thing we've ever had in Cardistry, right? So you don't really ever feel sorry for them because they had, like, honestly, at one point Zach had it all, right? And if he has left that point without knowing him personally, without ever having talked to him in person, right? Without all of that, without knowing anything that might have gone on behind the scenes, but just looking at it from the outside, it does seem that he has been on top, he has had it all, and then kind of lost it a little bit, right? He lost the position. He left as if, went into a direction, didn't listen to so much of the feedback the community was giving, right? That's just the way it seems from the outside. And so it's really hard on one hand to feel sorry, right, for one of the biggest brands that has ever existed, right? The same way I wouldn't feel sorry for Apple if they don't sell so many of the new fucking iPhone, right? Like, you know, they have sold enough iPhones already, right? But then also the event has, like, Fontaine has been gone for so long. You kind of hope just for the entirety of the community, right? Because it's so valuable for the entirety of the community. I just hope that he does something, just gets active again and does something, you know, and that's something not being just releasing a deck every now and then. Because the other time we talked about this, he has released a public statement, which was great, but right after that, he just went back to selling decks, right? Just a deck without anything else, basically, right? And so now,
and I haven't heard of that deck after the post that he did. So we talked about this post, and I think it was a pre-order of the deck then, but I haven't seen anybody use that deck, so I don't know how the pre-order went. Probably just nobody shared it who I followed, or I just didn't see it.
Sure.
Probably everything went fine, but I haven't heard of anything happening.
Yeah, it's just super
how the
quiet.
pre-order went, how everything. Yeah,
super quiet. Yeah, so if anyone.
Yeah, save Komorebi.
All right, so if fucking hell, this has been going on for too long today.
Yeah.
So if Fontaine is really coming back, and just tomorrow, basically, like, I don't know which time zone exactly, but probably within the next 48 hours, right? Really coming out just with another deck, then that's going to be very interesting also to see the reactions to it, because it does honestly really seem like that. And right now it does not feel like all the things he has said in his statement back in the day, right? In the text he's written on Instagram, on the official Fontaine account, where he said, hey, he wants to like look at all the feedback and be more active again and change things moving forward. And just releasing without anything else, just another deck, just would not be that, right? So I think this one, it's going to be very interesting, because who knows? Maybe when this podcast releases, we already will know what is happening.
Yeah.
And it might be that is a massive step in, like, the fate of Fontaine. Like, is it going to be super exciting? Everybody is, all right, damn, Fontaine is coming back, you know? Or maybe will it be something where even more people than already will say, you know, Fontaine is kind of done.
Yeah, you will definitely hear about that in the next podcast. So follow our account to not miss out on that, and also to see everything else we are doing. I think this is a good point to just wrap this podcast up. It has been way longer than we planned to do it. Let's see what you can cut out of that. If it's if somebody is still listening at this point, then we definitely get some good watch time.
You should definitely comment a coconut and a dragon emoji.
Oh yes.
If you are still listening at this point, that'd be amazing. Also, just, you know, feel free to give it a like if you don't mind, because that helps us a lot. To say the obvious things. And other than that, thank you so much for listening. Feel free to share all your feedback you have, your opinions on these topics. As we always say, this is mainly about just giving a bit of life to the cardistry community. There's so little content being put out. Mainly it's just Instagram posts and Instagram comments, and we just really hope to do this, and hopefully there's a couple of people who listen to this and then think, hey, I have a different opinion on that topic and a different opinion on that topic, and let's just talk about it, right? Let's just discuss. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. And check out
our Instagram. We have a lot of posts coming up.
Yeah, check out at Cardistry Experience on Instagram. You can find the link in the description as well. On the website too, cardistryexperience.com. You will find more infos about Cardistry Experience 2024 there soon. And definitely mark the December 20th in your calendars, because that is the day when the ticket sale will start for our next event.
Yes, I think you said it all. I think we can end the podcast here. And if you made it this far, congratulations. That's great.
Don't forget to comment the coconut and the dragon emoji.
That's really important, definitely. Yeah, and then see you in the next one.
That's it. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks, Mattis. Talk to you soon, man.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Au revoir. Digga.
Hey, der letzte war gut.
Der letzte war so off.
Für mich war der
letzte
war
richtig off. Da waren 2 Sekunden Zwischengefühl, Digga.
Dann mach du mal so, dass der synchron ist. Ich klatsch. Die sind voll auf.
So war es synchron bei mir jetzt so grob.